You join me from my sparkling clean greenhouse. I am absolutely thrilled to bits with it. Love it to start the season afresh. So we are beginning with our biennials. Now it is important that we do them now because they need to be big enough. They need to be plants to go through the winter. So if we don't sow them early enough and they don't hit winter as a plant, then you're not going to get flowers next year if they're not old enough. And the other problem is if you sow them too late, once we hit winter, the seedlings will be so tiny, there won't be any light for them to grow, and then they might struggle with damping off over the winter. So we sow all of our seeds so they are no longer seedlings over the coldest part of the year, and then seedlings are the only plants that get the damping off. Obviously you can rot them still, but damping off doesn't occur in plugs. I'm going to make this really easy for you, so it's like a recipe. Our ingredients are, for our biennial sow grow along, are Canterbury Bells, cow parsley, sweet William, sweet rocket, and I'm going to throw some hardy salad in as well, just because my summer salad is now coming to an end and I don't want to be without. So your cow parsley, that needs pre-chilling, so that should already be in the fridge. If you have forgotten, needs to go in the fridge for 1 to 2 weeks. So pop it in the fridge now and then set the alarm on your phone for 10 days time so you don't forget, because they've got to go through a winter, otherwise they won't flower properly. So set an alarm, alarm number 1, set it for 10 days time, and then set yourself a second alarm for 14 days time. So if you forget or it's inconvenient, then you'll get reminded again. So that's cow parsley in the fridge. So you've chilled your cow parsley, the rest of them don't need chilling, but if you did put them in the fridge, it wouldn't matter. That's absolutely fine. And then they're all the same. So every seed, every biennial that we're sowing at the moment, including a salad, does not need covering. It needs light for germination. You can put a little bit of compost over the sweet William, but it's probably easier. Sow all your seeds in 40 cell trays, 2 seeds per cell in case one doesn't germinate, and then you can always separate them later. Don't cover them with compost, so my advice is to fill your seed cells now and then water them thoroughly, and then sow your seeds onto damp compost, and then just leave them to germinate in the warm greenhouse. Now, they need light to germinate, but they don't need frazzling. So my next little tip is, you'll see here that I have soaked my tray ahead of sowing. We're going to be sowing these seeds on the soil surface. Nobody wants to be covered up with compost. They all need light for germination. I told you it was easy. So everyone's being treated the same, apart from the cow parsley getting a bit of a chilling in the fridge. So 2 seeds per cell, just in case one doesn't germinate, on the soil surface, and then leave them in the greenhouse in a slightly shaded condition so that the soil surface doesn't get blasted by the sunshine that we have at the moment. Nobody needs a lid. If you add a lid, you'll probably cook your seedlings. These are used in late winter to fake, basically, the beautiful humid conditions that we have in the greenhouse now. So conditions are perfect, just don't bake your seedlings in the sunshine. If the soil surface dries out, so will your seed, and you could kill it. Now, because our seeds are all sown on the soil surface, they are extra vulnerable to drying out. And you know how easy that is. You put them in a light, bright place in the greenhouse. When it's cloudy and when it gets colder later on, it's no problem. Need as much light as possible. But right now it is 40 odd degrees in my greenhouse. I'm sweating. It's very warm in my greenhouse. So what I've done is I've watered my tray first, so it's nice and moist, sown my seeds on top, and then to prevent the soil surface from drying out, and then don't forget the seeds are sitting on that soil surface, so if the compost dries out, so will the seeds. And if they dry out too much, you'll kill them and you'll have to re-sow them. So what I always do, if I don't have a shady spot in my greenhouse, you might have a shady spot. If I don't have a shady spot in my greenhouse, then I will use a layer of horticultural fleece just suspended over the trays, and that will just diffuse the light. Now, I've shown you many times before, but it doesn't hurt to show you again. So this is Neil's seed tray frame that he made for me. Basically, he built it These are slightly bigger seed trays with a lip, can you see? So we found these seed trays and then he made the frame to go around them so they sit in there just nicely. The sun has now come out, so you can see bright sunshine, potentially a risk of the compost drying out, especially if you're busy and you go off to work and you don't notice for a couple of days. So if you put a layer of horticultural fleece, can you see? You can see straight through the horticultural fleece, so they're getting plenty of light, all the light they need for germination, but not too much, so they will dry out. Once the seeds start growing, the light levels will start to dip anyway, and then we can dispense of the horticultural fleece. But I found I've had so much better luck with germination if my seeds are not stressed by too much bright light. We've got our seeds, so Canterbury Bells, cow parsley, this is the one that needs chilling, sweet William, sweet rocket, hardy salad. Nobody needs covering with compost, and nobody needs a lid. Lids aid humidity to seedlings, but at the moment, at this time of the year, you can see me sweating, it is plenty warm and humid enough in the greenhouse, so don't apply a lid because the chances are you will cook your seedlings. And they could get too wet as well, too much humidity. So we use these to fake these perfect conditions in late winter. We apply heat sometimes, we take them into the house to apply heat, and then that heat is dry. So we tend to use a lid to keep the moisture in. So no lids at this time of the year, you don't need them. Now I'm going to go and find somewhere cool in the potting shed to sow my seeds. I've just got a few more to do. And don't forget, if you ordered your seeds from us, thank you so much. If you ordered your fresh seeds, this is the latest harvest, so you've got the best chance of germination. There is a huge difference in the age of the seed. The germination starts to drop the older they are, which is why we only have our sales at a particular time. We get the seeds in fresh and send them straight out to you, because that saves a lot of hassle if you've got fresh seed. You're halfway there. So don't forget, you've got your Grow Along handbook. So if you ordered your seeds from us and you spent over a certain amount, you've got a free Grow Along handbook, which has got your biennial checklist in there. So if you forget anything I've said, it's in there. And you've also got detailed, if you're really interested in the plants, thinking about where they're going to go in the garden, you've got your detailed variety section. I want to tell you everything about the plants. I want to tell you sowing, but then I also want to help you with growing. So once they're sown and you've got them germinated, that's not it. I want to carry on and tell you how to get them to the plug plant stage, and then I want to tell you how to plant them, and then I want to show you how to, or tell you how to harvest them. And I can't get all of that to fit on the back of a packet. It's just not going to happen. So that's the reason. If you've only bought a couple of packets of seeds, then you won't need all this information. It's on the website anyway, so you've got videos and you've got all the information in the product description. But if you bought quite a few packets of seeds, then I just thought it would be easier to have a book so that you can just print the whole thing out and then check it whenever you want to. But you can read it on your phone as well. You just download it, you can read it on your phone, even without Wi-Fi.